Preface, Part 3 of 4. The expectations of those schools of thinking are often more about seduction and noble quest. May 2017. I am on G Wing, on the second floor. My neighbor is Ronald. He is gruff and dear, and doesn't speak much, though I think he is kind in his heart. Here's a secret. Most of the time, everybody is mediocre. Even the best of us, we really just make it through from day to day, being good at one or maybe two things, but leaving the rest to fate. I've been struggling to find a word that properly captures this sentiment. A word that declares we are all doing brilliantly even by just limping through on some days. Then I remembered when I used to read to you. One word seems to suffer a death after childhood, reserved only for garrulous and manic lexicon: marvelous. Mr. Marvelous. George's marvelous medicine. A marvelous time was had by all. It's a state of aggregates. Someone doing things marvelously has weathered testing, and endured scars, and keeps chugging on, with a sense of magic and steadiness about them. That's the word I need. It will be in the title if I ever get to finish this work off for you. How to be marvelous. How to be more marvelous. To carry on marvelously, despite the wheels coming off sometimes. Something like that. If it were a ship, the HMS Marvelous would be a tidy little boat. She braves the rivers and oceans with fear, courage and opportunism in equal measure. She would have a cargo of assorted tidbits from her travels, and bear a patchwork of scars and repairs, each of which she wears with pride, from having rattled and raked against perilous rocky shores or been swallowed by sudden waves, emerging as ready as ever to do her best. Wizened and wily with what little she has. By the time you read this, you may be in your teens. If you've not failed at something really big yet, I must say I am a bit disappointed. You are blessed with wonderful brains, but undoubtedly your memory fails you. You have failed somewhere, of course you have, and you must make efforts to remember how. It is important to capture our failures if we are to work out how to muddle through life successfully. We are designed exactly in the way evolution intended. We aspire to be more human, yet we know that we are primates with evolving human qualities. We fantasize about some utopian future where our descendants are elegant creatures flowing around in shiny purple bathrobes, waving and muttering soft civic things to one another like a CGI vision of the future as my generation imagined it in movies of the 1990s. I for one am glad we're not there yet. I couldn't cope with all the etiquette. No, we have to be sympathetic to who we are, and that means using all of who we are to be the fullest, most complete people we can be. That is a hint of marvelousness. If we have a devil inside us, and thank goodness if we do, then he, or she, needs to be bought the occasional drink, frankly. The devil definitely has a better taste in music than the kind of glib goody two-shoes you see in the plummy universities I went to, who reads books entitled 7 Ways to Entrepreneurial Success TM and Unleash Your Special Unicorn. Through understanding our humanity more fully, and learning about how exceptional people deal with life, we can hold a mirror up to ourselves, find out who we are, and find ways to speed up our efforts to become more whole. Our faults, yours, mine, everyone's, are not criticisms of our condition, they are merely statements of fact. This is exactly how we are meant to be. Marvelous people make it all seem like some kind of blessing. How? Remember how we love watching nature programs? How we admire in monkeys and lions the cunning and viciousness by which they go about surviving. As humans we have evolved somewhat past that, but we still slyly admire the more carnal qualities in ourselves. These things matter. We can't deny that our instincts and emotions have their uses. The pen is mightier than the sword, unless the other guy actually has a sword. But that can't be enough. What are we not mindful enough of? Are there things that would make our lives happier if we did them more often? What should we look at in order to be the best we can be? Well, for one thing, we have free will. I'm not interested in donning the horn-rimmed glasses of a North London psychiatrist and waffling off into charmless dry discussions about how illusory our free will is, or isn't. Forget that nonsense. Take it like this. The fact that we can believe, say or do whatever we want is a massive gift, of which we are never conscious enough. It sets us apart from the more basic animals, who, apart from a few videos of compassionate crows or erudite orangutans, are really just getting through their day with a mixture of raw instincts, survival, fighting, mating, relaxing and occasional clown variety curiosity. The second thing we have is our sense of higher things, like morality, compassion, inspiration, and meaning. This has something of the divine about it, don't you think? These things are the finest updates to our evolution. We did not evolve into purely logical beings, coldly killing off our poor, diseased, and demented people at the first sign that they are past their worth. We have not abandoned our love of stories, songs, communities, rituals and customs, too. We would become unbearable monsters if we did any such things. More to the point, we wouldn't be us at all. What I am saying is that the things that we glibly refer to as soft phenomena are absolutely essential to our being. There is something wonderful and rich to be learned from why so many of us still have a wish to believe in things like religion and superstition, which science regards as irrational. What purpose does it serve, and can even the hardened atheist gain some distilled essence of the improved well-being and resilience to stress seen in people who believe in rituals, spirituality, superstitions and the supernatural? We have an inbuilt code of knowing that we are meant to do things that are morally right whenever we can, and that we all broadly agree on the basics of goodness. It is much more than coincidence that every branch of humanity shares this sense, innately. Some of us look to religions to confirm and formalize these rules for us, and some of us find the rules from agreeing with others about what seems to be a good way of living life. Broadly speaking, everybody knows what those things are. We all can agree on what seems to be a kind of higher morality of marvelous people. Compassion, cooperation, higher purpose, and the like. And so our mission and privilege in life emerges. We have the free will to earn our pleasures, sorrows, joys, losses and mutual contentment by overcoming challenges and maximizing the good we can do through the mental capabilities we have and by remembering moral codes and truths that help us to get through the difficulties of life. Along the way, we retain quite fully the knowledge that we will mess up, make mistakes, and make terrible judgments. Terrible judgment calls make for spellbinding stories, even if nothing else. Don't regret them too much. When we do something wrong, we all agree that it's a good idea to examine what went wrong and resolve not to let it happen again. There will be those of us who never repeat the same mistake, and then the majority of us who will keep repeating the mistake despite our best intentions. Then there are those strangely self-satisfied, but often dangerous characters who don't care either way. Call them psychopaths or shorter, more obscene words. You will come across them. If they have power over you, be very careful to avoid their attentions. We are commanded, either by our spiritual beliefs or by our own sense of rightness, to try to be at our best, but we are often conflicted about what this means, and at other times we completely abandon the idea. If only we had a fridge door in our minds that we could slap sticky notes onto, reminding us of how to be. If we are to live as highly marvelously as we can, we would simply do our best in the world, without worrying about how well we actually do. Our aim would be to be as wise and attentive as we can be, pursuing some broader goal, and attending to our duties, adjusting and compromising to accommodate and navigate the majority of our time. which is, by the way, taken up in dealing with whatever circumstances and events life throws at us. Life happens anyway. It doesn't care too much about our plans. I think John Lennon said that. Or Mark Twain. If in doubt, go with Mark Twain on most quotes. There's a bonus tip for you.